feel as though I have the best job in the channel because I get to work with everybody across the channel. And we're vendor neutral, vendor agnostic. I have no allegiance or preference one way or the other.
Welcome to the Channel 2.0 podcast. I'm your host, Kameron Olsen, and in the Channel 2.0 podcast, we talk all things channel, everything from 2 a.m. Trust to Channel 2.0. And today we have a very special guest. Now, I think we have a lot of arguments about channel stuff, but I think one thing we all agree on is that the channel is built upon relationships and connections. And usually the best way that that's done is in person. And what better can we have than a guest that runs the largest event in the channel year over year, Kelly Danziger. Kelly, welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Cameron. It's an honor to be here.
Okay, so reading up on your bio, we have you lead the team behind Channel Partners Conference and Expo and the MSP Summit. You have been on the board of Alliance of Channel Women. You have won an ACW Lead Award. You are now on the board or steering the channel charity Tech for Change. Maybe the better thing to do is ask, what haven't you done yet? And then we can start from there.
I have not been a channel chief at a leading vendor or distributor yet. So that's the one thing I haven't done. And sometimes that's in my mind for sure.
Oh yeah, is that an aspiration of you sometime to like change sides, be on the supplier side?
Possibly, but as I tell people all the time, I feel as though I have the best job in the channel because I get to work with everybody across the channel. And we're vendor neutral, vendor agnostic. I have no allegiance or preference one way or the other, and get to really get under the hood of their business and what's driving them and what's important for them, and also how they're helping to solve the challenges of the partners out there. So I think I have myself, Bobby D, and the rest of my team. I tell us all the time, we have the best job in the channel. And I do believe it. Very much so.
Yeah, I think you're a lot like myself, that you don't necessarily align with one faction of the channel, right? You're not supplier, you're not TSD, you're not tech advisor. And so you get to play this third party role where you're kind of behind the scenes and you get to have conversations with everybody. From my perspective, being on this side for now, a little over 2.5 years is you really get to see a bigger holistic side of the channel versus a very narrow focus. You get a bigger view. Would you agree with that?
100%. And you almost you become a confidant. People feel as though they want to share very confidential things with us, get our input on strategy, give our input on what we're hearing, because we have the privilege of doing both Channel Partners Conference Expo and MSP Summit. And boy, oh boy, have those industries really changed and morphed over the years. But
morphed as well as starting to collide, align, whatever you want to say it. They are starting to come together now.
They are. I like to say align because I feel as though both the agents and the MSPs and the VARs and the ISVs, they have their customer always top of mind, and they want to do what's best for their customers. So I like to use the word align because I feel as though the partners really do care about the outcomes for their customers. So I think sometimes having those conversations and having to align in order to build the right solution is what's beneficial for their customers. And I hear that because we run both an MSP advisory board and we run a TA, technology advisory board, and we also have a business board. And so we're getting the input from the partners as well as the vendors. And we're hearing them, we have these boards separately, and then we'll bring them occasionally together so we can have the collective conversation. So we really we receive a lot of input and a lot of information and a lot of steering, which helps us to make sure that we're building our event properly and that we're delivering the right content, we're staying on the right focus, the topics that we're having are right, the keynotes we're bringing on, the power panels that we're building are talking about the right topics and the right challenges that the partners are having. And then we get the input from the vendor community as well. And we're hearing, and it's really very helpful. And I think that's why a lot of times people will confide, like Bob DeMarzo and I will get pulled. Hey, can we have a, completely off the record conversation, right?
Yeah.
So it's a really unique position to be in. And it's one that we don't take for granted. Like, we really value and love what we do. And we have a team that's, gosh, there's people on our team 10 years, 15 years, 25 years in the channel. So we're not just producing an event. We are truly integrated into the channel, and it's a big part of who we are. And it's as important to us as it is to you and to the listeners on your podcast.
Yeah, this is you're a perfect guest as we sit here and talk about how the channel is going, strategy, growth, all of that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you've been doing this for a while and have earned trust over years of doing this. The Channel Partners Show has been around since 97, not under the Informa or Channel Futures, but under Phone Plus. How long have you been part of the Channel Partners Show?
So the history of this whole business and how it's morphed from Phone Plus, and then it was under ownership of Virgo, and then from Virgo it became owned by Informa. So we're going to the 29th year of Channel Partners Conference Expo in 26, and I've been here now 12 years. And prior to that, I was with a competitor for 2 years. So I'm 14 years in the channel. I got a LinkedIn message from a recruiter over at UBM, and to go work at the UBM channel business. And that UBM channel business is now the channel company. So I had no idea. It was taken on going from running businesses to going in back and becoming like an individual contributor and taking on a sales territory where I could not have to be commuting 2 hours each way every day. So I took the role and had some amazing people that I worked with over there, some of which I work with now here because I was able to bring them over here with me. And I learned about the channel. And I remember going to my first event with them, and it was amazing to see everybody knows everybody. And if they don't know you, they know they don't know you, and they want to know who you are. And a very warm and welcoming community. So I immediately fell in love with the channel and spent my time over there for about 2 years, and then had a former colleague call me and say, I just got off the phone with this woman that wants me to come work for her. And you've always talked about going and doing media. This could be a really cool opportunity for you. And I feel like the two of you will hit it off. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll love to meet her. We connect on LinkedIn. That night we have a conversation. And this is Amy Katz, who was the founder of 9 Lives Media, which 9 Lives Media, her and Joe Panettiere started MSP Mentor, the VAR Guy, and Talking Cloud, if those ring a bell with you. Yep. So have a call with her. And I was not planning on leaving my other job, but sometimes you just have a feeling and you're willing to take a risk. And so I thought about it over the weekend, and I'm like, you know what? Always wanted to learn digital media, good opportunity to put another tool in my belt. And I made a big decision to leave Channel Company and take this job with 9 Lives Media that had just recently been acquired by Penton. So I take this on. I learn how to sell digital media, which I had never done before because I was always doing events, and really started to love it. And again, I'm selling all, these channel products, these channel media products. And then Penton was acquired by Informa. And so we move over and we're doing our media business. And then we launched an event. And then we find out Informa has a channel business as well. So now we had 2 channel businesses being run within the business, and they decided to bring us together. And it was like, okay, so this is cool. Let's learn about the Channel Partners Conference and Expo. So we start sitting down in a big meeting we were having, and we're talking about who are each other's key customers. And we had like one crossover client, and that was it was AT&T. And so you looked at the Penton media business from Nine Lives Media was really more on that IT services MSP. It was really focusing in on that MSP side. And the Channel Partners Conference Expo, as we all know, had the real strong roots in telco and in the agents. So it was a very interesting time of coming together. And just long story short, when that all happened, I got elevated into, running the event, back into being a VP of sales, and was working very closely with both sides of the house to figure out how do we bring these businesses together? Because Channel Partners at the time also had a media business, and I had a media business. And it was like, what are we going to do with these businesses, and how are we going to get them to work together? So we had a really good time doing this and figuring it out. And with our strong ties, the ties that I had very strong in the MSP space, it was that opportunity. My head of marketing kept saying, this is where we're hearing we need to start moving towards understanding managed services. And we're hearing more of our clients saying that they want access to MSPs. This is really good marriage of these businesses coming together. So we brought the businesses together, and for a while we were running them kind of parallel, because you had, the MSP Mentor, Vargai, and Talking Cloud had gone into becoming Channel Futures. They morphed the way technology morphed, right? No one was Talking Cloud. It was part of everything. And so we merged those three businesses, media brands, into Channel Futures. So now I had Channel Futures, Channel Partners Online, and the Channel Partners event. And so we're kind of moving along. And it was, I think, as we were starting to get a few years into the fold, we decided that what might be a good way to kind of test the appetite at our fall event for the MSP. So it was 2018. We launched our very first MSP 501 Gala. So we had been producing the 501 research now. It's been around for about 20 years. And it was like, I had clients of mine who were underwriting the research and advertisers saying, when are you going to do something to bring these winners together, right? Because if you do that, I'll financially support it. So I literally had emails with some key channel chiefs at the time, Rob Ray, who was with Datto, Jen Anaya with Ingram, and they're sending me emails, like signing them, like, we will give you X amount of dollars if you're able to hold an MSP 501 Gala. I bring that to my VP and my CEO, and they're like, you've got 6 figures of commitment here. Okay, fine, we'll let you do it. So we launched, it was fantastic. So we did that, the first one in 2018 in Philadelphia. And I remember seeing some of my MSP 501 winners on the show floor. And one guy says to me, wow, who are these people? Like, who are these companies? Like, I don't know them. And I'm like, but they want to know you. They're all looking to talk to MSPs. And so that was our first time kind of bringing the peanut butter and the chocolate together, like, talking about the Reese's, you bring them together and what do you got? You got something pretty special. So that was the beginning of what started to become this unified business of starting to bring the full channel together. And
well, I remember back when ScanSource bought Intellisys, and we all kind of, I think back then were like, I think it was the first time my mind registered of like, okay, there's 2 channels. And this is the first time that somebody's making effort and recognizing there's some synergies between the 2 and pulling them together. But I don't think it happened as fast as everybody's thinking. Here we are, 9+ years later. I don't remember the exact time they were acquired. I want to say like 2016, I think. It
was 2016, 2017 is where my memory is serving.
Yeah.
Right
so
around
we're 9 years later. We're starting to see a little more integration. Yeah. Why has it taken so long, in your opinion?
I think there needed to be a reason for it to come together. And that reason was work from home, lockdown, COVID, when all of a sudden the world shuttered and everything shut down and all of us were sent home. And companies had to figure out, how are you going to make this work? How are you going to get everyone network? How are you going to get the bandwidth? How are you going to get everyone the tools they need to be able to keep making their business flow? And that was a pivotal time where the alignment, the collaboration, the partnership between all of the partners had to come together to serve the end user customer. And so that is my opinion. And I think we saw it come to light when we were able to finally have a show. I think it was fall of 21. We were able to, we were the only channel event that was able to floor in 21. And we were between Omicron and Delta. We had that little beautiful window of time.
Yeah.
You remember that beautiful window of time. And we were planning as we were, before COVID was coming in, we had been talking about our fall event becoming just a solely MSP focused event, like launching another event that was only going to be MSP focused. So as we have this one opportunity to hold an event, we're like, you know what, for this 1 year, we'll do them both in Vegas. We were at Mandalay Bay at the time. We'll do them both. We were able to get the space. Let's just do them so that way we can keep the mission on path, and we'll hold them both. And that'll be in October. And then the following April, we'll just go back to our regular cadence of Channel Partners Conference Expo. And then the following fall will be MSP Summit. So we bring them together, and we had we started MSP Summit on the front end on that Monday. They had their own tabletop exhibit area, their own keynotes, their own breakout sessions. And then on Tuesday, we made the keynotes open to everybody. So it was like bringing the world together.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you still had the MSP Summit Expo area floor and then the CP Expo floor. So all of a sudden now the worlds were coming together, physically coming together in the world's largest independent vendor agnostic event, because that's the one I produce. There are bigger channel events, but not an independent vendor agnostic event. That's CP Expo. So we hold this event. Everyone was so excited to be back together. People hadn't been out and traveling in over a year, hadn't seen each other, which is unusual. As you know, in channel, we're always together. We're out and about like all the time.
No, I was just going to say, I remember like that particular event when you take a bunch of hyper social salespeople and lock them up for a year, and then you bring them out and let them out of their houses or their cage and bring them together. Yeah, it was like a big family reunion. Everybody was so excited to be together.
It was absolutely incredible. Like, you can still remember that feeling you had when you were there. It was absolutely it was amazing. I remember standing as we were waiting for the CP Expo show floor to open, and we had the cheerleaders there to get everything going. And it was just a sea of people. And I was so overcome with emotion. I was just standing there crying. Like, it was an incredible feeling. It's one I will never forget. It was and it was just a sea of people that just kept coming and coming and coming. It was amazing.
I can imagine the stress that you probably had of like, are people going to show up? Is this going to, like, I'm sure it was day by day of yes, we're on, or no, we're off. And then the next day you're on and then you're off. I can only imagine the stress that came along with that. It was so
stressful. I remember how we all had a COVID test too. You remember, in order to be able to go to the event, you had we had people were having to show their COVID test, and then we had COVID testing sites all at the event. Like, there was that whole, there was a lot going on there. But that was the moment when I remember one of my sales execs, Justin, comes up to me and he goes, "Kelly, are we going to continue doing it like this going forward?" And I'm like, "No, like, we're going to go back to he goes, "I don't think that's a good idea." And I'm like, "Can you come over and talk to my customer with me?" I'm like, "Sure." So from one customer led to another customer, of like, "You can't break this apart. This has been amazing." I've now had vendor to vendor conversations with people I didn't know. And now we're talking about how we can collaborate. Yeah. And you look at the technology service distributors, you look at the distributors on the IT services side, the conversations they were having with vendors they didn't know, and how that was going to help to grow their businesses and to better serve their end user customers. So there was all the way around, not just from the vendors, but then the partners loving it too, because it was opening up a world for them that they didn't know before. Different vendors, different opportunities, different solutions. So as you can see, we are still here today operating in this way. And we will not look back on that. It has served us very, very well.
Besides the whole COVID thing, which was a major event, what other things have changed since your time in that seat with these events? What are you seeing? How are they different? What are people saying? What are you getting back from your board on what they want and the changes they want to see moving forward?
We're hearing peer connections constantly, peer-to-peer connection, opportunity to sit and talk with peers at various levels. I'm hearing a lot at the CEO level within the partners wanting those connections with peers. So we have now started that whole peer groups that we're having at the event, and there will be more peer connect, organized, orchestrated peer connect at the upcoming CP Expo. We're also seeing more of the hosted partner need, where we are actually, there's a certain level, of you have to qualify as a VIP partner to come in and have these pre-scheduled meetings with our vendors. Our vendors are looking for that. They're looking very specifically and focusing in, kind of really honing in on the type of partners that they want to start working with. And they're looking to us to help facilitate those conversations and those introductions. So we're seeing a lot of that. If we're talking about, the world is changing so fast, and you're looking at technology is changing in the blink of an eye, and what people are looking for. It was a few years ago, security, everything's security. It still is security, right? There's no doubt about it.
It's overshadowed by AI for sure.
Right. And I was just out at IT Nation last week in Orlando, and one of my colleagues, Annie McKnight, she was also a few days prior to that at the Ingram One event, and the content, AI, and every booth, because the partners are wanting to understand actionable ways to utilize AI. Some of them are still not 100% sure what the business aspects are or the business outcomes, and how to make those work. So you've got a whole lot around AI. You've got some of the partners more advanced than others. We have, you look through our post-show surveys, and you have folks on, I need more AI sessions on how it impacts telco and what that's going to do for the future. You see it on the MSP side, same thing. So that's where, again, those peer groups that we're holding are coming in very handy, because we're able to bring these groups together, and they can sit in pockets and learn from each other. But AI is overshadowing so much right now within our content programming, but we can't forget that there's still that deep desire and want for those sales workshops, as well as the how do I grow my business workshops. So we're trying to strike the balance of making sure that we're giving the people what they want when it comes to AI. We're also helping them to understand what are the opportunities for you around data center, right? Because a lot of the need of AI is coming from the explosion, data center explosion, is coming because of AI. So what are the services that partners can start to make themselves experts on to help with data center? And that's more services versus the hardware. It's more of the services and solutions around that. So we're trying to strike that balance and making sure we're building the content to kind of feed the audience everywhere that they're looking for. So that's a big focus, and a lot of our advisory board plays such a key role in this, because we're very picky on who our advisory board members are. When I say picky, I mean we want to make sure we've got them coming and representing different sectors within the end user community, different sizes of their business, because different size partners have different needs and wants. So we really rely on our advisory board. And let me tell you, we've gotten very close with them. They tell us when we're wrong, and when they tell us when we've blown it. I mean, like, there's real hot and heavy conversations, but that's what you want. That's what you need to have.
I was going to say, channel people complaining or saying they don't like something. Nah, come on. You're kidding me.
But it's important, right? Because we even get so far as we're building our advisory boards to make sure we've got a nice diverse group of advisory board members, because they come with different needs and with different voices and different views on what's happening within the channel. So I think that's where we get a lot of, like, we owe a lot of a big portion of our success to our advisory board members.
That's great. I always tell suppliers that, like, look, the technology advisors are like snowflakes. There's no two that are the same, and to be able to have one solution that fits the entire channel is just unrealistic. And you got to be hyper focused on what you're looking for in order to find the ones that are there. Talk to me about the makeup of what you typically find at Channel Partners. Like, how many people attend? How many exhibitors are there? I know there's like this whole extra like world that evolves around Channel Partners. You guys are such a force to be reckoned with, and so much attention comes that I remember people saying, if you're not at Channel Partners, people are wondering if you're still in business. It's like, it is the event. What is the makeup? How many people attend, and what does that typically look like for you each year?
So this event is 8,000. We're right at that 8,000 tipping point. You're looking at, the partner breakout to the vendor breakout. It's about 60% on the partners, about 40%, and give or take a percent here or there.
Yes.
But you then look at, of that 60%, that's partners, we're almost at a 50-50 split of IT services partners as well as telco agent partners.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's really, we're starting to see that grow exponentially. When I started on the Channel Partners business, I've been with the overall business 12 years. And I've been, because with the time we weren't together, but then when we came together, it was about 9 years ago. This Channel Partners Conference and Expo, total attendance was under 3,000. So you're looking at, now we're at 8,000. So the event has grown tremendously. You're seeing from the vendor standpoint, we open with that MSP Summit, which will open their own expo Monday and half of Tuesday. And there's about 100 exhibitors within that MSP Summit. And then a good majority of them also then build a big booth at Channel Partners Conference and Expo, because they're starting, they want to understand and they want to see and want to be part of that. And there's over 330 last year, this year, 25, that were on the main expo floor. And then
I'm seeing the same thing with suppliers that are like, they have two channel programs that they're billing out. One that's focused on the TA, and the other that are built on the MSP, which both need very different engagement on either sides of that.
100%. And we have a lot of sessions, and we try to keep the keynotes that will be applicable no matter who you are in the business, right? The keynote content, and then you can deep dive into your breakouts. But yes, we see the same thing. And you'll see a lot of the folks who will come and attend, like I'll see them on Sunday night at the MSP Summit opening kickoff party. And then they'll be here. I'll see them, throughout the rest of the week. So it's exactly what you're saying. But it's a very diverse group of exhibitors on the floor. I think, what we're seeing now, and this happens within tech, right? What is the hottest technology at the moment? Who's starting something up? And they need to go where they're going to get the most eyes on them, and then they're probably merging with somebody else in a year or two, a good portion of them. But the event that we just produced in September, we had 75 first-time customers at the one I just did in September, which is our MSP Summit fall event. That was an enormous amount. When you start looking at a total, exhibitors at that event was like 135, and 75 were first timers. And I ask you to take a guess at what do you think they were focusing in on, what their solutions were.
Yeah. The amount of AI companies that are popping up these days are, crazy. Yeah.
Constantly. So what we have seen a shift at the Vegas event is we're seeing, and I've got to tell you, this is coming straight from our surveys. We're seeing a number of the very well established distributor companies, big telecommunications companies, moving to meeting rooms, and versus having the big displays on the floor. And that's not to the happiness of the partners. So partners do love to go to the meeting rooms because especially when they're invited, they're very well taken care of. They can have those high level conversations. But there's a lot of partners that want to go into a booth. They want to walk by, see what you got going, not be behind a closed door, right? Yeah. They want to walk by a booth. They want to be able to see the demos that you're doing. They want to be able to engage with somebody and take a tour of your solution.
Probably not get locked down for a half hour, an hour, but get more snippets to maybe see what's new and what you can come back later on versus doing a whole download of the show. Yeah.
So there's got to be that balance, right? So we had heard from a number of the vendors that we're making business decisions, and some of them shrinking the booth and expanding. I mean, like blowing out the meeting rooms. So their investment in the event has doubled, tripled, right? They're investing substantially because they're pleased with the outcome they're getting. But we are hearing from a lot of them said, well, we get more time to have meetings in a meeting room than on the expo floor. So we take feedback very seriously. So at the event we're coming into this coming April, the expo floor hours are going to be like double from what they were. I mean, you're looking at, we're going to be open all day on Wednesday. So it's, from 10 in the morning until 7 at night. So, or excuse me, 6 at night, because we also heard don't go too late because we want to do dinners, right? Yeah. So we have really had to redesign the whole flow of the event because we don't like to overlap too much on content, but when you need to have an expo hall open longer, right, there's going to be some overlaps. So we are designing a whole plethora of new things that are happening on that expo floor, from a number of different activations that have contests that are going to be going on to keep people coming back, from bike building programs we're doing in conjunction with Tech for Change, supporting children in need in the Henderson County area, to golf simulator and longest drive competitions, building out a whole beer garden on the floor with food trucks. There'll be concessions on the floor. So there's a whole lot of things that we're doing currently to make sure that floor is a very active hub all the time, and trying to meet the needs of the vendors who said, please give us more time, right? We want more time. So we're working very closely with our clients, right? They all know what the new hours are, and we're building out new things on the regular. So I've got a couple of surprises up my sleeve. I'm just trying to get them all finalized about some more things. But, we open up registration next week. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to be seeing when Reg opens next week. Yeah. That's all new and first time stuff that we're doing. So we're really excited about it.
Has there ever been a discussion about not having it in Vegas?
Where else would we go, right? So when you look at the size of this event, right, it's got to be at a big show.
Look, I think Vegas is what attracts everybody. A little bit of fun, a little bit of play. I think if we had a motto in the channel is work hard, play hard kind of mentality, and people like Vegas to come and play hard and work hard for
Yeah,
sure.
but I get you. I mean, I look at, we're going to be here, as I said to the team, I'm like, okay, here's the challenge. We're here to 2031. What are we going to do to shake this up, right? We need to change. We need change. So the whole layout going to the event, when you come in April, it's not going to be what you're used to. Registration is everything is moving. So
everybody's going to be wandering around used to whatever the old one was, right?
There will be plenty of signage.
Or maybe it's like Costco. Every time I go to Costco, it feels like they move the entire store around. So I have to search the entire thing. And Costco knows better than anybody what I want more than I do. So it's easy to pick stuff up. That makes a lot of sense.
So we're really very excited about it. It's been a big labor, if you can imagine, to make all of these changes. A number of site visits by myself and key members of the team and operations to bring all of these different things to life, and make sure that the flow is going to work well for everybody, and that it's trying to do as many conveniences as we can, in terms of we're researching a satellite registration as well at this moment, adding more entertainment, adding more food activations throughout your travels through the event. So we're really working on trying to elevate experience for our customers as well, so that it's like, if you come to my home, I want you to feel welcome. Well, if you come to our events at the Venetian, it's our bigger home, right? We want you to feel welcome and wanted and want you to feel comfortable while you're there. So we take the feedback very seriously, and like what works, what doesn't work, and what we need to do more of and what we need to do less of. Where do I need to invest more? Where can I pull back in another area? So there's going to be a number of new things coming in April, which we're super excited about. And I keep going back, I need a little more. I need a little more. I need to do this. I need to do that.
Yeah, your team's trying to figure that out. Okay, so let's talk about feedback. Not feedback your way, but let's go feedback the other way. Putting together a show for a supplier to come to Channel Partners is an expensive endeavor, right? Like your showroom floor is fairly price adjusted. It's a good cost. But Vegas is expensive. Bringing out your team, you can't go out to dinner for less than $100 a person. You're hosting, you're buying drinks, the rooms are expensive. Vegas is expensive. Like, how do the suppliers that do it the best, how do they get the most out of the show? What are you hearing? What do you see? How do you recommend suppliers do this event and get the most out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. I mean, you as a supplier need to make sure you're taking advantage of the partner appreciation campaign. And that's what we supply. So that's what our marketing team provides to every sponsor and exhibitor, a customized VIP package. And you can email this and send this to your customers. And that helps the customer to get a discount on their pass to attend the event. So that's a cost savings to your end user customer, and it's helping you to be able to track who of your prospective customers or prospects, current customers or prospects, are coming to the show, so you can schedule meetings with them, right? And those meetings, if you're holding those meetings in the expo hall, that's great, because now it's in your booth. You're bringing them in. You can do the test drive demos, and there's food stations on the floor, especially during the cocktail parties, right? So there's a way you can go over to the beer garden, grab a beer, grab a nosh, go back to the booth, sit down, let's talk, and let's work through this. I think doing the pre-promotions is incredibly important, because build your plan, work your plan, and then you can measure what your outcomes are going to be. And I see so many of our customers who do this, those who have both the meeting room and the booth on the floor. And they're able to say, okay, in the meeting room, that's going to be where the C-level conversations are happening. And that's where the C-suite is going to be meeting. And then you have your middle management teams, and they're in the booth, and they're able to work with the partners hands-on. making sure you've got people that are coming that can actually work the technology, people that are in the booth that can answer questions, and not just, it's nice when you have a check-in desk and people can find the individuals for you. But you want to make sure if you have folks in the booth, they can talk enough about what your products are, what your solutions are, the outcomes are, and be able to give the partner enough information that they can feel
spark
like
their interest right out of the gate. Yeah.
And to make sure that you're engaging with them and you're engaging with the partners. And there's a number of our customers who do this exceptionally well. And yes, there are people who say, well, there's certain clients of yours that are spending, $500,000. I can't afford to do that. So, my take on, for a first time customer, if you're coming here and you're getting a 10 by 10 booth, and this is your very first time being here, take advantage of our first time exhibitor program that we put together. It's available to you. When you come to the show, we always have, and this is available to anybody, the exhibitor briefing. And we do this physically on site, but I also hold, I guess about 4 weeks before the show, 4 to 6 weeks before the event, we actually do a live webcast. So it's more like a podcast kind of, because I'm actually speaking directly to the people who show up and want to dial in. And we're talking about the entire event. I'm speaking on it. My head of sales is speaking on it. My head of marketing is speaking on it. My head of operations. So that way, questions that you have can be answered. If you're an exhibitor who's been doing this event for 29 years, but you have new people on your team who've never done the event, have them dial into this. Let them get the information. Let them get educated. Take advantage of, like I said earlier, that PAC program. Take advantage of the free things we have to offer to help you make the most of your experience while you're at the show. Because if you just show up and you have 2 people, and they don't know the event, they haven't taken advantage of any of these pre-activities or the on-site briefings, haven't done the PAC program, haven't arranged any meetings, it might be a challenge for you. With 8,000 people roaming around, what's going to make you stand out in that space?
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when I go to these events and I see people behind the booths on their phone or their laptop, or, it's after the event, the trade show closes at 6 o'clock and they go up to their room and they disappear for the night. And there's always so many things that these people, that the people who run the booth and are the suppliers and are trying to engage do. I mean, it is an expensive endeavor to bring your team out and do all this stuff and put your marketing into it. I ran a poll the other day and asked the channel, when does it go from company time to personal time? What is too late? Because the channel's kind of known for I can hang out until I'm the last one, or right. Some of them disappear early, and it was overwhelmingly, they said 10 o'clock was like too late. So your thoughts on the 10 o'clock time frame? Is that too early or too late?
I'm curious who you were polling, because if you're polling people my age, I'm like, 10 o'clock it is. My day's getting out past then. It doesn't happen. I think it depends who you're talking to. When it comes to the Wednesday night, which is the last hurrah with all the big parties, I think save it to that night to let it be the midnight or after, right?
Yeah, your event goes till midnight, right?
Well, we don't.
Some of the TSDs stay out till 1 o'clock at your event too, right?
Those are their parties. Keep in mind, they're throwing those parties on the Wednesday night. Those are their parties. And then we still have Expo Hall on Thursday morning, which is a short amount of time. It's 10 to 12. And people ask forever, why do you still do that? Well, if we didn't do it, those parties on Wednesday night might not have anybody attending them because people need to leave. Booths need to be taken down. So if we didn't have Thursday morning, booths would have to be coming down Wednesday evening, which would impact the Wednesday night parties, right? And the Wednesday night dinners, because now all of a sudden you're shortening things. So we're working on some fun stuff for Thursday morning, but we always have, we have breakfast, we have the mimosas, the Bloody Marys. We've added those to the show floor, the hair
You're
of the
going to need
dog.
a little hair of the dog after a late
Hair of the dog
Wednesday
till
night, right?
Thursday. But, you know, I look at like with my team and, you know, obviously we're on because this is our show, right?
Yeah.
But I look at our clients who are spending a lot of money to be here and the partners who are spending a lot of money to be here. You want to make sure you're well rested so that you can be up and at it from 8 in the morning to 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And you want to be able to have coherent conversations. And you don't want to be having that opportunity to engage with somebody really important and not be 100% with it. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, but then again, you'll still go down and you'll find people hanging out at that bar really late.
It's interesting, the trend that I've seen over the last couple of years. You know, I've always said that private equity has come in and has changed our channel a little bit. I think they first changed the technology advisor by mergers and acquisitions and companies really seeing what a private equity company wants, and so they're really maturing their game. There's now an end goal. It's not a lifestyle business. It's, hey, I'm going to get to this much and then I'm going to sell out, or hey, you know, I sold out and now I have a target I got to hit. I'm going to double down and focus on that. And it feels like the TA community has been a little more focused. And the last couple of times I've been there, when I'm out at the parties at 10 o'clock and beyond, I won't admit to how late I stay out sometimes, but 10 o'clock on, I look around and it's mostly the TSD and the supplier employees, and I see less and less of the trusted technology advisors out past and staying out later, because they want to get up and they want to have the conversations and they want to be present and they want to learn. They don't want to deal with a day of hangover because they're there to do business.
100%. And when you're looking at the investment they're making in their meeting rooms, and you go into some of these meeting rooms, they are, I mean, you've been into them. We know the ones that are just amazing. They've got a lineup all day long of meetings. You know, those meeting rooms can open at 7:30 in the morning, and many of them are in there having early morning breakfast meetings at 7:30. And these are because Channel Partners Conference and Expo brings people at all levels in attendance to this event. But you have the C levels coming in, and the C-suite are having very important meetings. So when you've got a day of scheduled meetings, you can't be late and you need to be on your A game, because this is they've made a huge investment to be here, and they need to see that come out in the strong ROI they get from the event. So I love to hear that it's winding down at 10 o'clock and people are going to bed at that point and getting ready for a business day. It's what I'm doing. I'll tell somebody.
I can imagine that you're on 24/7 almost. I bet by the end of that week you need a week off.
I'll be Irish goodbye. You know, it'll be like a Sunday night party. I'm like, all right, Irish goodbye.
Well, let's finish this up. I'd love to do a quick
sure
SWOT exercise. Just go through strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which you see currently in the channel. Let's start with strengths. Let's start with the good. What is the strength of the channel, do you think?
The strength of the channel is the trust that the partners have with the end user customers. Those end user customers rely on the partners so much to help with their tech solutions, and they trust them to keep them protected. Huge strength, the value of the partner.
Okay, let's go with weakness. What weakness does the channel have?
I think one weakness is the vendor and the partner need to always have open communication, especially around the payment programs. We hear that a lot from the partners. How am I going to get paid? When am I going to get paid? Not playing games with margins on certain products. So that is one of the weaknesses, and that'll probably be a weakness forever, right? Because that's something that has to constantly be worked on. So is it a weakness, or is it something that just needs to have constant momentum and constant connection? We'll leave it there.
You are such an optimist. I love it. All right, let's do the sandwich method. Let's work on the threats before we get to the opportunities. What threats are you seeing coming towards the channel?
I think well, the threats. where some of the vendors are starting to impinge a little bit on the partner and try to go direct versus sticking with the partner. And I hear that from the partners. And that's definitely a concern for some of the partners. And I think that loyalty and the vendors need to continue to show their loyalty and gratitude to the partner relationships and to keep nurturing them and keeping them strong.
I definitely feel like right now, and if I actually look back on the history of the channel, I think it constantly is an ebb and a flow. But right now, the question of what is the value of a channel program, is it worth it? Is it an ROI? All of that stuff seems to be a little bit of an escalated or a high level conversation that I'm hearing a little bit more, and bringing what is the value of the channel back up and coming to an agreement of what the responsibilities are for each one of the factions and how we bring value back is definitely a conversation that's being had more and more. All right, let's finish it up on what does the opportunity in the future bring for this channel? Where does it go from here? What does the next 5 years look like for us?
I think, I hate to keep going back to AI, but it's here. It's not going away. And I think the partners need to embrace it. The vendors need to embrace it. They need to understand what it can do for their business, what it can do for their solutions. On the vendor side, being actively involved in educating the partners on this so that the partners can continue to bring those solutions to their end user customers. That is not going away. And there's so many amazing, uses of AI. And I think we need to not fear that we're going to lose our jobs. We need to understand how we can take the roles we have today and how AI can make us smarter, faster, and more creative and more strategic in the work that we're doing. So I think if you are going to embrace it, you are going to see rewards down the road.
Yeah, wonderfully said. Look, technology, we're not going to use less technology in the future. More and more and more is coming our way, doing
Absolutely.
more and more of our jobs, which means the opportunity for the channel to figure out how to integrate that into our work environment is just beyond. A big chunk of your responsibility with the Channel Partners program is education and training. I'm curious, it feels like for a technology sector that's supposed to understand technology, we really are slow to adopt technology and bringing in and share it. How do we speed that up? How do we we've been selling cybersecurity now for 5+ years in the channel, and it's still something that we still really struggle integrating. How do we speed up that process? What are your advisory boards suggesting and recommending on that?
Well, my advisory boards are doing it. They're very proactive. They're very into it. I think we're seeing the younger generation coming in, and I think we need to be, how are we recruiting the next gen into tech, into channel, because they're not afraid of this. This is what they're growing up with. This is what they're learning about, and it's not like this is creating something new for them. So I think we do need to be bringing in and recruiting in the next gen of our tech leaders. And when you're running a team that's multi-generational, you learn how to work with multi-generations, right? And to be open-minded to the younger person on your team and what they have to say, because you, the senior person on the team, then know how to put that into an actionable business plan that can be built upon and monetized. So I look at, when my younger team talk, I'm all ears. And how do I take the ideas, because they don't have the fear or in the olden days or back in the day, that's not where they're coming. They're bringing all of this in. And I have 4 kids. that are young adults and they're out in the workforce, and they all have very different careers, but I hear them all talking about security issues. I hear how it can apply to education, how can it apply to running a small business. I see how AI is impacting the education sector. It's impacting everywhere. So these young folks in the 20s and 30s coming up, they're living this. And so they come with some really interesting insights. And then it's up to us. How do we put that into a business strategy?
Kelly, thank you so much. Truly, truly appreciate your insight. More importantly, I appreciate your openness to feedback and the evolution of what Channel Partners has gone through over the last couple of years. It truly is an amazing event. If you have not gone, you need to go check out Channel Partners. You need to be a part of it. You need to be integrated into the ecosystem. Share with us on how people can get more information about the event or what you guys are doing over there.
Absolutely. So Channel Partners Expo, channelpartnersexpo.com, take you to our website. My email, kelly.danziger@informa.com, always willing to have a conversation. You can reach me on LinkedIn as well. The big event will be this April 13th through 16th in Las Vegas. So we would love to see you there. And again, honestly, if you have any questions, by all means, send me a note or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect.
Thank you, Kelly.